Oh, just switched it on and some bell starts going somewhere, not sure where. Anyway, Absintheria. Anybody that hasn't seen the Absinthe films on YouTube should basically put Absinthe, ABSINTH, put that as a search term into the into the searching thingy, and search on Absinthe and see what you get. It's quite good fun, some of the interesting films that they have there. Just been, by the way, this is of course another Prague vlog. You can't mistake good old tinny church over there. Just came out of the Hard Rock Cafe. Didn't think of filming as I was coming out, but we were in the Hard Rock Cafe having a Hard Rock quiz. I was on the Queen team. I was Brian May. In fact, I still am Brian May. I ought to take that off, shouldn't I? I don't have that much hair like Brian May. I don't really look like Brian May. Do I look like Brian May to you? Not very much, I don't think. But nevertheless, everybody had to be a famous rock star. You picked it out of a bowl as you went in. You put your business card in one bowl and picked a badge at random, or nearly at random, from this big bowl next to the business cards bowl. So you swapped your identity for that of a band member, and each table was a band. So it was interesting because you actually were forced, in a sense, if you thought you were going to spend the evening with your mates, and you're basically forced to get shuffled into random groups and meet people and work together with people that you hadn't seen before, which I thought was very good, because that's what chambers should be about getting people networking. So that was actually very good that they did that. It was actually the British Chamber that did it, so that was a very good event. Nice Pivernica. Looks like a beer place. Yachimova. I think this is the Golem Restaurant down here, which I've actually filmed inside before. Sophie couldn't resist playing on the piano that's in there. And even though it's 9:30 at night, it being July and nicely summery, it's quite bright. And the funny thing is that there's been rain now for 3 days. It's only just stopped. There's the Golem. Everything's shaped like a golem, and including the menu holder. So, and that's not such a big surprise when you consider that the Golem himself is not far away from here. So, in fact, he's in there, in that building there. But I've told you all that before. The Golem was, this was at the time of, is it Mordecai Meisel, the Jewish banker that was lending the whole time to the emperor? Got some favours from him back in exchange for not returning the money, which basically meant that Jews in Prague didn't suffer the oppression that they otherwise would have suffered. The area around here is called Josefov and was a Jewish ghetto. There were times when they all had to, there's a golden Prague through Jewish eyes there, which has got all Jewish emblems on it. So that's where we've wandered into the ghetto, and there were times when everybody had to pack up and get out, and then they came back in again, and basically most of the history of this area was associated with the Jewish community. There's Franz Kafka, obviously a famous Jewish guy from Prague, German speaker, but writing in German, knew some Czech but didn't write in it from preference. There's the Franz Kafka Society. There's the man himself, and there's his specialist Franz Kafka bookshop. I bought a copy of the trial from there at one point, so which I'm actually gradually reading through from time to time at the moment. The trial is actually an interesting book to read. It brings you into a certain almost surrealistic atmosphere of the individual caught in a kind of bewildering world where nothing seems to make a great deal of sense, and where there are strange undercurrents of lust and all sorts of strange things going on that are hard to understand. So the trial itself, you can't really tell where it's based. It doesn't say, hey, this is Prague, guys, but the fact is that Kafka always did live in Prague, and he didn't live anywhere else other than Prague, so he had all of his experiences that he could have written from right here. And so when you look and you read a Kafka novel, and you see him going into the suburbs and finding a row of houses and going into the jolly old what do you call it? You see him going into the porchway, the staircase, the stairwells, and going up and going into the houses inside. I mean, the architecture that even the description calls to mind would be a kind of Prague-ish, especially the way that, I mean, when he goes for his first hearing, it's almost like a TARDIS, isn't it, where he goes into what appears to be a normal flat, and it turns out to be a sort of huge, great big spacious hall for a hearing, with people stacked up on one on top of the other, listening, and two sides, in the gallery on both sides, with people jeering and laughing in turns from both sides as he speaks, and basically lays down the law, holds court in front of the examiner. It's a little bit the way that architecture looks in Prague. These buildings that you walk along in the front, and in Warsaw, if you went inside them, well, they wouldn't be that deep. They wouldn't be that big inside. But when you come here, then you see that the architecture is such that they go back a long way. The buildings are set back deeply, so that there are, you can walk a long way into them. In Warsaw, you'd be walking into a courtyard at that point, but in Prague, you're still in the building, and there's no windows, and you're back in the building a further long way. There's more parts of the building which don't find it necessary to offer sunlight, and that's the sort of thing that you seem to be faced with in the descriptions of the architecture given by this gentleman here, Prague, of Kafka, sorry. There's his statue with somebody modelling it there very nicely. The empty suit there with Kafka himself sitting on the shoulders. I think I've shown that one before as well.